Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host Matt and your other host,
Tristan.
Tristan Walter.
Well, okay, I mean, you didn't do your last name, so I thought, oh God, he's doing a new thing, so I have to follow suit.
I thought I said Marrero. I'm tired. Anyway, that's right, I didn't say Matt. You're right, I just said Matt.
Must be all that running. And screaming.
Must be all that running, yeah.
First there's running, and screaming, and then death. Jeff Goldblum?
That was me at work last week. That's how I hurt my foot.
Oh.
I want everyone to know.
Kicking.
I want everyone to know that I was actually helping out at a speech and debate tournament, or rather just a debate tournament. So I want everyone to picture a debate tournament with everything that you just said added on top of it.
Okay.
So yeah. So today, first off, we haven't done Friday night movies in a while. I have a strange feeling. I'm probably wrong. Is this the first Friday night movies of 2018? I don't think so. There was another one, right?
I am not sure.
Because I think we recorded Jurassic Park 3 before 2018, but it dropped after.
Ah, right.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Mm-hmm. Well, because I'll look after this podcast is over. If Jurassic Park 3 isn't out yet as a podcast, it will be after this week. But I'm pretty sure. Well, because we have so much that goes on here with Those Guys Play, Those Guys on the Radio, TG Productions. I lose track of what we do after a while.
I do.
But anyway, but the point is that today we're talking about Cloverfield 2008, the first Cloverfield that came out. And here's something super interesting. Tristan,
and if you want to say late to the party, then just add my name to it.
Tell everyone your experience, your long experience with Cloverfield.
Yeah, so I never actually saw it. So this is the first time I've seen this movie, and it's 10 years later. You mean
so
my overall?
You saw it like an hour and a half ago.
Yes.
Literally as we're recording this podcast, yeah.
Yeah. Well, at first it was kind of rough because, we had love teen drama, and as you all know, that's not my thing. So at about 16 minutes in, I'm like, I'm sorry, Matt, I just don't think I can do it. We're just not getting into what I need the monster here. I need something. And then I look away, and 18 minutes in, the earthquake starts and buildings are destroyed, and I'm like, okay, thank God. And then it started to ramp up very viciously. Viciously is a good word. Yeah, let's go with that. It ramped up very viciously for the next next hour, and then everyone died, and I was kind of sad because I felt bad, but at the same time,
yeah, right.
No, I'm kidding. No, that was pretty. That was intense. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'll say this much. It definitely ramped up more than I remember, and I'm a little curious. I wish I could go back and ask someone who would remember. I don't think anyone who saw this movie when I saw it with me at my dad's house, even if my dad was still around, I don't think he would honestly remember if we finished the whole thing. Because... Well, let me explain why. Because I saw this movie 10 years ago when it came out. Funnily enough, I don't mean this as a joke. I mean this legit. I may have seen a cam rip of it. So, when it was in theaters. So I don't even know if I saw a good DVD version. I don't know if, I saw maybe someone tried to show me a DVD version and it wasn't legit, but it was still a DVD, because I don't remember it looking as good as it does now. And it's not even like you've seen my TV, Tristan. It's not a huge TV, like one that's usually, mounted on the wall, 4K, surround sound. It's nothing like that.
Right.
So what I'm trying to say is I'm looking at Cloverfield now, and I'm realizing we see the monster a lot more than I remember, and I feel like people, even though I understand, okay, I understand if someone says, I don't like this movie because shaky cam makes me sick, because it kind of can make you feel sick and disoriented. It's a general, I mean, it's used to try to make you feel more anxious, but also people can just genuinely feel sick. So if they say, I don't like it because it makes my head hurt, I'm not going to fault them for that, right?
Right.
But if someone says there wasn't enough of the monster, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, no, there was definitely plenty of the monster. You know what?
I think,
it's funny.
Yeah.
It depends for me, like whether, because I love to see the monster, but on the same note, I feel like it would have been okay for this movie if you really didn't see the monster. Maybe like just the small shots, but like, yeah, there are plenty of times where you see the monster and it's right there in your face, and it's like, oh, all right. I mean, that's cool. It was still cool, but I'm like, you know, maybe we didn't have to see this one. It kind of takes away from the mystery, only a little bit though. Not entirely.
Yeah, we saw
definitely not entirely.
Yeah, because I thought we were going to wait till the end to see its face, and no, we saw its face pretty early.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I just feel like, I mean, here's the thing too I want to mention. We're watching the DVD version, so we don't know if there's a theatrical cut that maybe had less monster face or less monster body, and people are basing it off that. But I feel like people went into this thinking that they were going to see the next King Kong or Godzilla, and maybe in that regard, I think in that regard they can be disappointed. But I still don't think that. I mean, again, obviously it's different opinions. I'm not going to, police people on their opinions. But anyone who says there wasn't enough monster, I really don't know what to tell you. Like, we weren't going to get Jurassic Park with dinosaurs.
Right, yeah.
We weren't going to get, like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know what you expected. Like, well, we're going to ride this thing's back. Like, this isn't Power Rangers. I don't know what people may have expected. Although I will say this much. As much as I love J.J. Abrams' work, I think he may have done the film wrong. Now, hear me out. That's a bold statement Matt's making on this podcast. What's such a bold statement? No, because you didn't read this, Tristan. I read a little bit on the wiki page, which, by the way, totally proves it is true. J.J. Abrams said, when he was traveling with his son, I forgot what they were promoting. It might have been Lost. But they were promoting something, and he was traveling with his son to Japan. And he was in Japan, and he and his son saw a bunch of Godzilla merch, like toys and stuff like that. And he goes, and J.J. Abrams said, hey, I feel like we should have our own version of Godzilla. Like, I feel like we have King Kong, but King Kong he basically said a quote like, oh, it's adorable. Because I guess depending on what version of Kong you're looking at, it's mostly like stop motion and figures and stuff like that. So he's like, but I feel like we should have our own like Godzilla. This is what J.J. Abrams said. I feel like even though obviously that was just an original concept before the movie actually came out, if his idea is this is our Godzilla, well, it was done completely wrong, in my opinion. Because this is something a lot different than that, I would argue. Do you know what I mean? Even, not just the way the film was made, but just, I don't know. I feel like at least with Godzilla, there's something about it that even I know you could think maybe it harkens back to the first one a bit more than anything else. But obviously, when we think of Godzilla now, at least by the time this movie hit, it's 2008. So that's not even. It's not obviously when we got 2014 Godzilla or 2016 Shin Godzilla. But I mean, the last thing we can think of before this in America was Zilla. Sorry, threw up a little in my mouth. But the point is that. The point is that I think of, Godzilla as in, we see him coming out from the deep. I mean, technically it did come out from the water, but we see it coming out from the deep. Right? It's funny. There are Godzilla. It's definitely some obviously it's inspired.
They came out of the bay and destroyed the oil tanker.
That's the thing. It's totally inspired by Godzilla. Don't get me wrong. I would never say it's not, because that's dumb, right? But I feel like when I think of Godzilla, I don't know, I guess we've been spoiled by giant monster fights.
Yeah.
That just to kind of have the one monster wreaking havoc and just destroying everything and having them run away. Granted, it was from their perspective, which I really enjoyed, but I feel like a Godzilla movie, it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just the fact that it's shaky cam footage, and I'm very beholden to Godzilla movies not being that, but it doesn't feel quintessentially Godzilla. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's bad. Remember, I love this film. I want to mention that, by the way. I love this film now, seeing it a second time after 10 years, getting through the whole thing, and really seeing how everything went. It's just, for some odd reason, I feel like if J.J. Abrams said, I want this to be our Godzilla, like if that was his goal, I don't see it that way, but that's probably because of how Godzilla has been marketed, where I'm sure in the 50s they didn't think of Godzilla as having his own toy line.
Right, yeah.
So I think that's where I'm coming from. We're like, do I see Cloverfield, the Cloverfield monster, being in a Godzilla game fighting Godzilla? Actually, yes, I do. Do I see it? But do I see it having its own Cloverfield monster universe?
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I know there's other Cloverfield movies, yes, but I'm trying to say, like, I don't see it. And again, that just might be, even though there are Cloverfield figures, by the way, if you want to go search that up immediately, Tristan. I don't know if they're still in print. Probably not. Probably fucking hundreds of dollars now. Hope not. But my point is that I look at it differently, at least maybe because it's the first film, but I look at it much differently than I see Godzilla after all these years, after everything he's been through, after all the games and stuff like that. I look at this more as, it's funny, until it was a franchise, I thought it was just going to be one movie. I never realized it was going to have more.
Yeah, it did feel very one-off-ish to me. I know there was a second one, which I haven't seen either, but, hearing you tell me there's a third and possibly even a fourth, I'm like, oh, wow, okay.
Well, yeah, the fourth is slated for October 2018, and the third is out right now on Netflix.
Right.
But apparently the third, we'll talk about that more obviously when we get to that podcast, but the third actually was delayed. It was supposed to come out in 2017.
Right.
So that's why it came out on Netflix recently. It was delayed, and then it came out. So that's why they already had the fourth one filmed and planned for October 2018. But anyway, back to this movie, I don't know. I feel like this is an amazing movie, and I really do enjoy it, despite some of the shaky cam issues and a few other things we'll get to throughout the podcast. But I don't feel like this is our Godzilla. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, I feel like that goal wasn't met, but so many others were. And I think I don't know, I feel like it transcends the idea of being our, like, it doesn't have, like, it's funny how I say it wasn't met and then use the word transcend. It's like, pick one, dickweed. But I have to come up with new nicknames for the fans to call me in my hypotheticals.
Oh my God.
It's always the same thing. It's always jackass. But anyway, but I still feel like, I don't know, I feel like it didn't hit the mark, but I don't want to say that it missed it or that it, didn't make it, because I don't want to sit there and be like, Godzilla's the end-all, be-all of everything. That's your job, Tristan.
Yeah, don't take my job away from me.
Yeah, right. What else do I have? He sits there crying, holding his cat. Is Patchy with you?
Ow. No, not
Is Patchy with you? Oh. Well, that would have been good then.
I don't even have my cat.
I'm so sorry. Do you have your sake?
No. Damn it, Matt.
Wow.
Stop reminding me of things I don't have with me right now.
Jesus Christ. I'm going to end it right there.
Oh, good. I mean, to be fair, my cat is totally fine. She's fine. Just not
No, I know.
Right now as we're casting.
No. That's I know. Thank you for saying that.
No, I know
you
know. I want to make sure anyone listening knows that.
And you have like two other cats in the house who just don't make cameos.
Yes.
They have to be paid the big kitty litter, the big catnip. Get the fancy kitty litter to do stuff like that.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, I feel like it's definitely it's not like a Godzilla movie, but in terms of having our own giant monster, I feel like it works. I don't think he was really going for an let's have an American Godzilla, because we tried that and No, yeah. When I say, of course it's an American kaiju, it's an American monster. That's an obvious. But I feel like if we're thinking of the idea of an American Godzilla, quote unquote, or a Godzilla type movie,
I feel like, at least with what Godzilla movies have become, I feel like something like Pacific Rim fits the bill more. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would say that too.
That's kind of what I mean. However,
this kind of focuses more on the human aspect, which is funny. 2014 Godzilla kind of does that a bit more too. And I wonder if that's kind of... The original did. Yes, you're right. The original did too. You're right.
And I think and to be fair in that regard, yes, it is more like to be fair, I'll say this much. If I ever had to talk to J.J. Abrams, which I would love to, and if he didn't listen to that podcast, which I would love to if he didn't listen to this, and we just had a discussion, if he said to me, I wanted to make it like an American Godzilla movie, that makes sense. Because, again, it harkens to Gojira, where there's a lot of human dynamics, human elements there, and their dynamic works, which I prefer when Godzilla movies actually have a good human element there, and when it's not just the monsters, because what ends up happening is you end up having too little humans, and then even sometimes, depending on the Godzilla movie, the monster elements are reused. That's a whole different argument and discussion from like older Godzilla movies, like when they recycle footage. But so then I'm just sitting there like, just have the humans do something so I know their names. Like, how many movies have we done on the podcast, Godzilla related, where we don't even know people's names, characters' names, because of the fact that it didn't even really focus on them as much, to the point where you're like, just cut them out.
I remembered that. No.
Yeah, right. Bullshit.
I remember most of them. I try and write them all down, too. I don't always get all of them, but yeah.
That's true. Good point. And that's another issue. But I feel like in this movie, at least I'll say this much: in the like 17 minutes where you were bored, at least we got to know people. Like, that was a great way to set up everything before, the monster struck down. And we were then sitting here like, oh, wait, is this going to go away and we're going to have a lull? And I felt like the best thing is, even though we had moments of other humans interacting with them, we had the stuff in the train station, it never felt like we were in a safe place.
Yeah, no.
Especially for too long. And the movie did a very good job of doing that. It never made us feel truly secure.
Nope.
But I like that. Because I never felt like,
a good way to go about things.
Yeah, of course. Because in a practical situation, before knowing about the fucking spiders, whatever those were, I would have just bunkered down somewhere. I mean, thinking about my apartment, I easily would have been like, well, we're going in the basement, we're locking everything, and we have rations. That's what we're going to do.
True.
And that's what I would have done. Right? But again, now that we know about the spider monsters, we would have died.
Yeah. See, I don't know what I would rather do in that position, because when they went underground, I'm like, so you're going to have a cave-in, and you're going to be trapped, and you're going to starve to death. Actually, no. You'd probably they'd either run out of air first, or they'd run out of, or water would get them first. Probably air, but yeah. Yeah. I'd get terrified.
Well, it's funny. You and I, to be fair, I live in Queens. You live in Long Island, so I feel like we'd be in a strange position when it hits Manhattan first. We'd be like, so what do we do?
So, do we get the fuck out of Dodge, or can we ride this out?
Yeah, and also it's
should I buy a boat?
Yeah. Also, the thing, too, is the reason why I wouldn't want to leave in that situation is because when you have the Statue of Liberty's head flying at you, I know you're not thinking of things rationally, let's say, but in my opinion, I would sit there and be like, okay, if we go to a bridge, there's a good chance that I wouldn't think it's a monster that would hit it, but something might break this bridge.
Right,
we should stay here somehow, in some way.
Yeah.
By the way, I know that there were people who didn't see that it was a monster and who probably have no idea what's going on. But the fact that there were people stealing TVs in an electronics store, I was like, I hope you all die. Every single one of you. No. Because people who were stealing things like cell phone batteries, I believe the main character, he was doing that. I was like, I accept this.
Rob did.
You need, Rob, thank you. You need these things. You need some of these things. People stealing large televisions, it was like, I want the monster to eat you as you're watching it eat you on your new television.
Oh, God.
The cameras are just like, and the monster is right there. Oh, my God, this television looks amazing. Just ripping him to shreds.
Oh, ooh.
Because the thing is, dude, I know it's horrific, and I apologize to our viewers.
All I can think about is HUD. Yeah.
Oh, that was the saddest thing, and I was so confused because I was just like, well, first off, I was like, that's a really good camera, and second, I was like, that's a really dead HUD, and I was really sad. But no.
Yeah,
but
that was one thing for me. This got a bit more gory than I thought it would. I was not prepared for that.
Yeah, neither was I, and I think that was another thing that it did that was definitely good, that it kind of departed from Godzilla in that way, where, Godzilla, it's a bit, even the first one that felt a bit more grounded in reality was a bit not because of how they, I'm happy they didn't show Godzilla stepping on people.
Right, yeah.
As far as I remember. So that was interesting. He
certainly didn't eat anyone.
Well, I don't think, even though Marlene said that it was eating people, I think it might have just been doing what it did to HUD, which was like, I'm frightened, and like just biting them and throwing them around.
Right.
I don't know if it needed to feast on them. I think it was generally just fucking scared from the looks of it. Very similar to Godzilla in a sense. Like, where am I? Who the fuck are you? What is this? Like, I know it may, because that's the interesting thing about this monster. That's another thing, too, that I like that Godzilla usually isn't. It didn't seem like this monster was evil. It seemed like it was somewhat confused, perhaps. Like, it was lashing out because it's like, this is loud. And it's just like, hey, buddy, you're in New York, all right?
Oh, my God. I mean, also because it was getting bombed and attacked. And
I would argue it started it. Just by being confused.
When you're that massive and you're bumbling around in Manhattan, I mean, I feel kind of the same way when I walk down the streets with you. Like, my shoulders are kind of wide. Like, I don't want to.
Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea how badly I want to get little miniature army men to shoot at you? In Manhattan? Do you have any idea?
Oh my God.
Okay, but just anyway.
And you could just use your street address to name the movie.
Yeah,
and film it with your own camera and do your own shaky stuff and make yourself vomit as you record it.
So apparently you know that Abrams did that. Wait, did you not know that Abrams did that?
No, I did not.
What the fuck? Why the fuck did you? Cloverfield is actually the name of the street that Abrams would turn on, which was right near his production studio. Like whenever he drove in the morning.
Oh, you know what? I may have heard of that. I just forgot.
You had to have, because that's really fucking specific.
I mean, I didn't remember when I made that joke, but.
All right, that's fair. But anyway. So, because I was doing a little bit of reading on it. Nothing that I didn't want to spoil myself on the second, because I haven't seen 10 Cloverfield Lane. I haven't seen the third film, and I don't know anything about the fourth film. So I didn't want to do anything to spoil myself on those, just to discuss this one. So I learned that about the movie. I also learned what I said earlier about Abrams with Godzilla, and I just want to say that this movie, like you said earlier, it got very gory and very dark, where obviously, it was a found footage movie, and you knew that it wasn't going to be a happy-go-lucky film in some respects. But, again, like I said earlier, they really made sure not to make you feel like you were ever going to be at ease. I'm really sad that not Zoe Deschanel, which, god damn it, she looks like her so fucking much in certain roles. I don't remember the actress's name. I think I told you it earlier. It was Lizzie something.
Right.
Yeah, and so she died. She exploded.
Oh, Marlene.
Which was like
or Marlene.
Marlene. No, that's the actress's name. I mean, that's the character's name. The actress was named Lizzie something, where she looks like Zooey Deschanel. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So she. By the way, something I want to say about this movie too. Speaking of the casting choices, I'm really happy that at least at the time, and even now in a certain way, the actors and actresses cast for the movie were really unknown. Obviously, things have changed for T.J. Miller, who's been in Deadpool and who has very large, like a very big, like bigger comedy specials now on Comedy Central and some other places, I believe on Netflix as well. And, of course, even though I can't remember her name, the actress who really does look like Zooey Deschanel has been in The Interview and has been in a few other things that I've gone, oh, wow, that's where she's from. So she has a large list of accomplishments. But at the time, I would argue she didn't seem like she wasn't that big of an actress, I would argue, like her profile. So I really did appreciate, even now, looking back 10 years later, other than HUD and her role, I feel like a lot of, not that they don't have work, they've obviously worked and stuff before and after Cloverfield, but they weren't like big name, like you weren't sitting here like, okay, this is a found footage movie with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it didn't seem like, because if that happens, all of a sudden, immediately, your fucking immersion is broken, and you're like, I wonder how Leo's gonna get out of this one.
Yeah, right.
And even if he was the first to die, you still be like, oh, okay, Leonardo DiCaprio is dying, and be like, no, his name is John, and it's really sad. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, it's nice to be able to really lose yourself in these characters because they feel real.
Right, yeah.
Yes. Also, another thing, too, is that it was actually, they were filmed on actual cameras, mostly on location.
Right.
So, in other words, they were mostly filmed with digital cameras of the time, nothing like, no fancy large cameras with, like, a sound crew or anything like that. Like, it was actually meant to be filmed, with that shaky cam effect because they were actually using camcorders. Good ones, mind you, really good ones, but still camcorders.
True.
And also the fact that there was, as you noticed, there was no soundtrack. So it truly felt like it was just real.
You're right. I didn't even think about that the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
You don't notice it.
Yeah, that's a big thing. There is no soundtrack.
Yeah. You don't notice that until the end when it actually starts playing during the credits. Where you're like, right, there was no music. No music. So that's a big thing, I think, to note. And really, I think this, I would argue, kind of kicked off that trend. Obviously, we had the Blair Witch Project before this movie in the late 90s, early 2000s. I remember those trailers when I was a kid. But I think this really kicked off that trend of found footage movies. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, to be very honest with you.
Yeah.
But I do think that at the time this did something that was different. So I think even if you don't like that genre, I think it's very interesting to note how this thing kind of started something new. Especially even doing it with a giant monster movie. I think that was also very interesting to do where, it was, instead of it being something like, oh, these are ghosts or spirits, as much as, I'm not trying to shit on Paranormal Activity here, but to do it with something so devastating, like having this monster just go through this city like that, evoking feelings of some tragedies that have happened in the area. As a native New Yorker myself, my anxiety was through the roof, my internal anxiety, because, of other footage of things I don't want to talk about here. I don't want to, get this dark and depressing here. But it just really, it's a bit different. And it's a bit different than, like, me seeing something like, even though it wasn't New York, X-Men 3, The Last Stand, where Magneto bends the San Francisco Bridge. It's so different when you're seeing it from a perspective of, oh, this is a film.
Right.
versus seeing this footage of it, quote unquote, happening in front of your eyes while everyone is screaming and reacting. It's in that way, it is kind of chilling. And of course, I will admit, obviously it's 2018, so in my opinion, I think I was brought out of the immersion, but in a good way, to not try to get you. And it wasn't them trying to do this, but obviously it's been 10 years. So seeing a tentacle where I'm like, okay, that's fake. CG.
Yeah.
But I have to say, though, the actual bridge being destroyed and some of the other effects that they did, those somehow have stood the test of time.
Yeah.
It's just the actual monster that I'm like, oh, CG. That's good. I think that's okay, Because it kind of takes you out of it, but not in a way where I was like, oh, it's so fake. More so like, oh, okay.
Right.
Compared to everything else that's going on and everyone's screaming and crying, I'm like, it's okay. It's CG. It's okay, me. It's okay.
I guess for me, there did not take me out of it at all.
No, just the tentacle. Just certain parts. Most of it looked good. Really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, I don't know, maybe I can suspend my belief a little bit more, because even in those instances, I was...
Well, remember, you're watching it on a computer screen. You're also watching it on a computer screen as well. Watching it on computer screens or mobile can make it look better versus a bigger television.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, unless you saw it somewhere else in your house I didn't know about. Seeing it on a computer screen is
no.
smaller.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But one thing I wanted to mention too is that I also think that even with these certain special effects, putting it through the lens of that camera was able to make it work a little bit better, I would argue, where if they were trying to film it as if it was like, oh, yes, and of course they were in the helicopter, quote unquote, but I feel like they're, again, how a Pacific Rim or a superhero movie would have filmed it, I think it would have been too much and it would have looked too fake. Certain scenes, if they had to film it a certain way.
It kind of feels like, it feels like for me, if you watch this on Blu-ray or something, the monster would just stick out like a sore thumb.
But not even on Blu-ray. I feel like Blu-ray in a different type of movie as well. That's the thing that always usually does it, the type of movie. So making it a found film kind of movie also helped in a way. A found footage kind of film helped in how they wanted to portray certain things. And how long the effect can last and how it would look and what angle they would get it at, made it potentially, at least in my opinion, look more real than if they were trying to film an actual, let's say, again, superhero movie. Where, you look at, let's say, the Hulk. It would be funny. If you filmed, a Hulk movie from this perspective, it would probably, in my opinion, look more realistic if you, compared to any of the Hulk adaptations, 2003, 2009, or even Avengers Hulk, where you look at all three different Hulks and you see how CGI has gotten better with each one, after a few years of each one, because each one looks, just in my opinion, better than the last one.
Right.
Even when compared to Hulk in the second Avengers film. I haven't seen Hulk in Thor Ragnarok, but I feel like each Hulk looks better than the last one due to effects, because, of course, you have to see Hulk head on, just charging at you.
Yeah.
So it obvious, and, in broad daylight, too. That's another thing, too, by the way, doing this at night, brilliant. I mean, the scene was technically in the morning at the end, but still, doing it at night throughout most, and even then, in the morning, quote unquote, it was still kind of dark and gloomy. I guess the environment was like, holy shit. The environment hid. The sun was like, I'm not fucking coming out. Have you seen that thing? But yeah, so I feel even then they kind of, it was a little darker, and that kind of helped the monster blend in, because that's the biggest issue, I think, with CG at any point, really. Having it try to blend in with the environment is usually the biggest obstacle. And I think, not just because it's scary to have a monster come out at night, but it really helped it blend in.
Right.
Yeah. So, I don't know about you. Were there any parts of the movie that really took you out of it, though? It doesn't have to be monster related. Any part of the movie that kind of took you out of it.
No.
Yeah. No, I mean from a suspension of disbelief point of view.
I guess probably when, well, okay. Definitely when they finally find Beth, because I'm sorry.
Okay, thank God.
I know it's
thank
your
God.
love interest, but she should have totally, even if it wasn't a fatal, like, she had the steel rebarb coming out of her, like, even if it wasn't fatal, like it didn't puncture any organs or anything like that, the sheer shock and amount of time she's been laying there, yeah, you probably should be dead.
Yeah,
Not even probably.
So I thought, I swear to God,
a bit.
if you weren't going to say that, I was going to scream, "She was impaled, Tristan!"
Yeah,
so I'm happy.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, my take on it is this. So I, in my opinion, in my non-doctor, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse,
opinion.
on my non-medical opinion, she
Yeah.
should have been dead, yo. But
yeah.
Now, here's the thing, though, right? Here's the issue. I've read some behind the scenes on some other movies. So it's not this one that I've read anything on some other movies.
Yeah.
And they've said things like, oh, we want it, let's say it's a movie based on a true story. That's why it's definitely not this movie. A movie based on a true story. And they said, we wanted to put this in the movie the way it was told to us or the way that we saw it happen or the way that it was written in the book. But if we did that, no one was going to believe us. And it could have been something like a feat of human athleticism or something, like during a time of war.
Right.
It could have been, oh, we should have been dead from this, but you know what? She got up, or this person got up, and they persevered, and they lived.
That's true.
It could,
yeah.
So
I was going to mention...
That's the issue. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to mention the idea that, everything that's going on around them, like, adrenaline does surprising things, like things that you don't think it would ever be able to let you get through or survive through. So,
right.
Like, I keep that every time. Like, I saw a few things, like when Marlene got bitten the first time, and she was was really bleeding out, and they were able to walk away from it and kind of keep a steady jog. I was like, you're my favorite character so far because you smacked that thing with a crowbar, and that was awesome. But you should not be alive right now. And then she blew up later, which was sad and disturbing as all fuck. But yeah, no, and then I started to think about it. I'm like, well, the sheer amount of adrenaline that your body is pumping through you right now, maybe you're not feeling it as much as you probably should.
Yeah, and then she did sort of feel it even before she blew up. She was like, ooh, and it was,
True.
And granted, I'm sure those were the spider babies in her, but still, she was still just like, ooh, and they were like, hey, can you wait here? Yeah.
When they do find Beth, when Rob finally stirs her awake, it's only then when she wakes up and starts to realize, oh right, I'm in pain, and starts screaming. That makes it a little more believable too, because at first, no, she wasn't conscious for so long, she wouldn't have been kind of aware of it, and then your body is like, oh right, we've been impaled. Yeah, about that.
Yeah, so from the sounds of it, it sounded like she calls him, and it was hard for her to get through because no shit. And then she left a voicemail, and that's what he heard later, right?
Right.
That's what happened, right?
Because there's no way she would have been calling him during... I mean, she said, I can't move, but I feel like she would have been like, I've been impaled, please God, help me. Not like,
no, I think...
Because it sounded like her legs were caught under something at first.
That's what I fucking thought happened.
Yeah,
that's
what I did too.
To be fair, when you're impaled, I mean, the first thing you're probably saying is, holy fucking shit! So,
right,
I mean...
exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe she was stuck under a piece of furniture at first or something, and then more of the building started collapsing, and she fell into that position and was knocked unconscious. It's the only thing I can think,
I don't
really.
know. Yeah, obviously we're never going to get an answer to that. I'm sure that's the least of anyone's concerns about the movie.
Yeah, right?
How was she impaled, though? But I have to say, though, all jokes aside, even though we both acknowledge that, adrenaline's a hell of a drug and, amazing feats of human strength, because this isn't based off of a real story and because none of them are doctors, from the sounds of it.
Mm.
It was a little strange
Or
for
the
them
fact
to
that
get
they're
away
all,
from that.
Yeah, or the fact that they're all just kind of normal people, too. Just every, random people that you could pick off the street in Manhattan,
Yeah. Yeah, at least they had that vibe about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was strange that they did that. Like, I do wonder, and again, I didn't do any research on this, but I do wonder if maybe there was a test audience, or if studio execs were like, no, it would make more sense if the love interest lived, because people would immediately, because to be fair, even though I think it made sense for her to die, it would have definitely brought down the mood of the movie.
Oh, definitely.
If they go there and she's dead.
Right, especially if they had I mean, granted, they killed off everybody at the very end anyway, but yeah, I guess if they had planned her death, and then losing, because then Rob would have been completely alone at the end, and that would have brought the mood down even more than it was.
Just him and HUD.
Right,
just
and
him and HUD hanging out.
Yeah.
No. The sister dies in the first chopper. Well, not the sister, but the first guy who died, sadly. His
the brother.
Fiance.
He dies first on the Brooklyn Bridge. His fiance. Did she die in that chopper? I thought they got evacuated. Because you never see her after that.
You never see her after that.
I feel like she got away.
All right. Well, hopefully she did. But the point is that she gets away. And then it's just Rob and HUD just hanging out, just looking at old videos, just like, hey, dude, do you want to just see some old videos? Sure, buddy.
Okay.
And then they just watch some old video. That would be funny.
Yeah, I feel like I would have been fine with that, too, if it was, Rob and HUD at the end. Or, I don't know. I mean, because if it was just Rob all by himself at the very end, that would have been pretty dark. Too. Not that it wasn't dark already, because you just see the bombing run afterwards and they're buried alive.
Potentially. The alternate ending might say that they didn't. Right. I'll explain why in a second.
Sorry, buried alive is the wrong term. Buried dead. Very dead.
Ooh, gee,
extremely dead.
Extremely dead. But no. But here's the thing, right? So the thing is that before I even get to that whole alternate ending thing that may or may not have happened, which might not even matter anyway compared to the newer films. We have no idea where what would happen with them. The point that I want to get to is, so I don't want to say like, oh, Abrams would have wanted her to die. Like, I'm not trying to do that. I don't know any of these people. I didn't see any interviews about it. It just felt very Hollywood to keep her alive till the end and to kind of have them die together in love.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's all I'm saying. Where it felt like the movie's tone
I agree with that.
made it the movie's tone, even though it would have, you're right, it would have been terrible if he was alone at the end. So something had to give somewhere.
Right, yeah.
And also HUD dying, I think, was a great thing, despite me hating it. Hating it from I love HUD. But I liked it because it showed that even the guy with the camera wasn't safe. Something that you would think.
Right. Well, because there was a point, when they're crossing the broken bits to get to Beth's apartment, and Rob screams at him. He says, HUD, put the camera down. I'm like, no, HUD, don't put the camera down. It's the only thing keeping you alive. And then he gets eaten while holding it. And I'm like, no, not even you're safe.
While holding the camera.
Yeah.
So that's the
guy
thing.
Who holds the camera never dies.
That's what you would. Well, I mean, technically, because every movie is filmed with him technically not there, or her technically not there.
Right.
But no. But seriously, all jokes aside, right? You're right though. Like, it made you feel like he was secure in the fact that he held the camera. Why would he die? Who else is going to have the camera?
Well, yeah, right. Because the idea, like, the camera obviously survived, so. But yeah, apparently in this way, it's like it didn't need someone to get it out to let the camera survive.
Yeah, and or at least HUD didn't need to, and that's the thing.
Which I wonder. I wonder if that camera had a case, because goddamn.
Oh, that's right. I made that joke, but I was serious in a way. I was like, that's a good camera. They bought a damn secure camera. I mean, they lived in Manhattan. Manhattan's always been a little pricey, so their fucking cameras been great. Something very interesting. It was 10 years ago, obviously, when this film was released. It was made, I assume, 11 years ago. Started being filmed and everything. How crazy is it that even though the phones were that old, they still got that idea of like, oh, we have to take a picture. That culture was still prevalent 11 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
When they took a picture of the Statue of Liberty head, when it's fucking in front of them with other debris flying around, they're like, oh my goodness, that's the head.
Right.
Like, I sat there and I was like, it's still true today.
Yeah.
That was, yeah.
Where's the line?
Yeah, right? 11 years ago. But yeah, so, but still, so still true no matter what. Yeah, I don't know what the spiders have anything to do with the actual Cloverfield monster, quote unquote. By the way, Cloverfield monster, I believe, is not the official name. It's just the name we've given it, I believe.
Right.
Because technically Cloverfield is supposed to be the quote unquote government name that in universe they give the like the Cloverfield incident,
the operation,
if you will, like the Manhattan.
the incident, right.
Like the Manhattan Project or something like that. Like, it's not, it's just the name that was given to the incident in question.
Right, exactly.
But, yeah, so I think we've just dubbed it as the Cloverfield Monster because, again, for like fucking 8 years, that's all we had.
Yeah, it's easier to just call it that, too.
Exactly.
And you know exactly what someone's referencing, so...
So, yeah, I don't know what it had to do with it. The way the movie made it sound, though, and I'm pretty sure you heard this, too, because I think we were talking about it through text before the show, it made it seem like the monster would move around, basically move its very long, very, just, I don't know, I'm thinking of the word here, demonic arms, I don't know what you want, and these spiders would fall off of it.
Yeah. It's funny. It almost kind of reminds me of two separate mediums in that regard. The spider-like creatures falling off of it remind me of, I don't know if you've ever played Final Fantasy X, but Sin. It's basically a giant monster, kind of like this, but like these they call it Sin Spawn. You know, little monsters. It kind of shoots them off like seeds, and then they unfurl into these little things that attack you. So it reminded me of that. Yeah, and then the other one was, I sent you an image before the cast where the arms and how its body is very serpent-like towards the back and like built up and bulky in the front with an odd-shaped head reminds me of a monster from a TV show, a cartoon. I believe it was French animation, or maybe it was Canadian animation. I don't know. Code Lyoko.
No, it was French. Yes, Code Lyoko. It was French. Yes.
It reminds me of one of the Xana monsters, I think, in one of the last worlds that they go to.
So, just a very small aside, because I know we could take the entire podcast to talk about this. So, very small aside. Was Code Lyoko on Toonami, or was it just on a general midday Cartoon Network block?
Or was it on? It was on a different block. Yes, it was definitely on at that point. I don't know if it was on Toonami previously. It may have been.
So it was in that weird block where it was like, Toonami isn't midday anymore, but we have Maguzi with the weird fucking... It was like that... It looked like that monster from Yu-Gi-Oh! The yellow one that's basically a Pikachu.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Didn't the green monster from Maguchi look... Yeah, sort of, yes. But we're going to move away because we can take a full fucking hour long.
I think.
Yeah, basically. Anyway, but Code Lyoko, Actually, the spider monsters, you know what they reminded me of? In Rodan, those random roach, like, insect monsters.
Oh, yeah. Right.
That's what they reminded me of. Because, like, in a way, they didn't come from Rodan, but they were sort of like this weird mid-boss where it was like, we can't have Rodan the entire time, so we're going to have a little bit of them, hurting the village.
They were trapped in the same volcano or underground cavern or same time period.
Rodan ate them.
ate them. Yeah, exactly.
That's the fucking scariest thing about remembering those, because we did that podcast on Friday Night Movies as well. So it's just us sitting there like, these insects are the scariest thing. Rodan shows up to eat one, and we're like, oh no, there's something bigger.
Yep.
In this case, I think, but I gotta say, in this case, I think the reverse worked really well, where we see the big thing first, and we're like, oh, don't worry, we'll escape. But to show us that we were wrong and foolish, because the gods are cruel, you can also get attacked by spiders underground. So you're not really safe at all.
By them, apparently.
Yes, which made a lot of sense because it was horrifying. But it makes sense because you don't want to feel like if you beat them down, then that's it. Like, you didn't want to, like, again, at no point did this movie make you feel like, oh, but what if? No, they will still fuck your shit up.
At no point did you ever think it was going to be okay.
Exactly. The only time I felt close to okay is when the fiancé, when she beat one of them with an axe, the spider, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. That was the most okay I felt throughout the entire film.
Yep. And then that didn't
I was like, well, I mean, she got one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the most. So here's what took me out of the film. You would think that the only thing that took me out of the film was the fact that they had to rip her out of Liz out of a freaking pole, rip that out of her. That's actually not the thing that took me out of the movie the most. Okay. What took me out the most is, in my opinion, right, it's like, oh no, how do we get up there? Well, we could climb all the way up, but it technically, the building is falling onto the other side. So how about this? How about we climb up the other building and walk to the other side? You would think that's the moment when I lose when I'm pulled out of the movie. Not as much as when they had to walk back. I'm like, you got there. Just go down the stairs. I know the idea is, oh no, but we proved that this is the only way we can do it. But nothing said that you couldn't go up or down the stairs. You just said it might be better. We don't know if there's a clear way into the apartment. But you're telling me there's no clear way out? I know it's dumb to say that, like, the in is the out. But I think the idea is, once you guys have secured that, but also realize that it's scary to go from one side to the other between two buildings, maybe, just maybe, you try the stairs with your injured girlfriend or love interest.
Yeah.
When your love interest is that injured, your first thought is, you know what, let's get this thing some fresh air. Let's put her in the fucking middle of two buildings.
Yeah.
That's just my take on it. I don't think it was...
No, I thought the same thing, too. Like, she was up and moving way too quick after that. Like, that's when I feel like the trauma would have set in and, like, she would have blacked out real hard again. But, adrenaline's one hell of a drug.
Well, again, it's not the fact that... It's not that she could do that. It's that their thought was, what else can we do? It's like, you didn't even try the stairs in that first place. Could you have at least tried the stairs?
I mean, I guess I would argue at that point they know they have a limited amount of time and they want to go the way. It's like, we know we can get back the way we came in, so let's just stick with that instead of wasting time trying to find a way down.
Okay, but you know how I look at it?
I'd still be nervous about everything.
I personally look at it like a drawbridge. Like, we got through it once. Do we have another option? Well, the rocks are down there. I'd be like, the drawbridge could break, and then we'd fall into the water below. Let's try the rocks. Matt, just stop. Are you watching Jurassic Park 3 in the background? It's basically the same movie.
Life will find a way.
By the way, is it life? Is it an alien? What is it? What do you think? What's your take?
It's funny. That's I think it's an alien. Because I was seeing a few things, like, not trying to spoil anything else for other movies down the line, but I did see an image, like, blown up. It's like, apparently, like, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this was confirmed. But in the Coney Island scene at the very end, after they're buried after the bombing run and the videotape goes back to them at the end of the day at Coney Island, Apparently there's something falling from the sky into the ocean.
Yes, but you know what other people are saying that it is?
Yeah. Okay.
They're saying it's a satellite from a Japanese company that was promoted in viral marketing before the film came out.
Oh, okay.
So they're saying that the satellite woke it up.
Oh, okay.
I believe Abrams was even quoted as saying it's a satellite falling from the sky and that's what woke it up. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't an alien from years ago that fucking, fell into the Earth's crust or something.
Because there was
no one is saying that isn't the case.
Right. Because I think you had also sent me, it was a movie poster, right?
Yes. It was a movie poster of the head off the Statue of Liberty, and apparently the Cloverfield monster is hidden somewhere in the poster. I think it's in the water, but people are saying it might be in the debris from the buildings, like in the smoke.
For me,
I don't know where it is.
Yeah, the tagline for the poster was like the important part that stuck out to me. The idea, like, something has found us. So that's also kind of made me feel like, oh, so this is alien? But yeah, that's a good point. Like it could be terrestrial and just be woken up from the bottom of the sea.
But it could be. It wouldn't be terrestrial if it's from space, from from thousands and thousands of years ago. That's what I'm saying.
True.
It doesn't have to be terrestrial necessarily. It doesn't have to be, because it is funny though, because the idea of like Abrams being like, it was woken up from the sea. Just Godzilla is like, I'm gonna call my agent, and we're gonna.
Well, it's funny. It kind of also reminds me of even just the monster, like not the monster itself, but like making monster movies. Kind of reminds me of Ray Harryhausen too, with 20,000 Fathoms.
Yeah. I don't know. It's funny. I don't know much about his work. I know Courtney, a fellow podcaster, Let's Player. She's a huge fan of his movies.
Oh,
so
okay, cool.
So I only know about him through her. I mean, obviously I know about some of his creations through older clips and stuff like that. But she's been talking to me about some of his work. No, I was thinking it was just for some odd reason I heard in my head. I heard like Mecha Clover, just Mecha Clover. We had to develop this monster. It's Mecha Clover with little tiny mecha spiders. They were like, did we have to make the mecha spiders? We had to make the mecha spiders. It's like, okay, sir.
They're also killing the civilians. We did not program that into them. Well, I guess you could say there's a bug in the system. Just throw him out of the cockpit immediately.
They what?
They throw him out of the giant robot cockpit, out falling. Just for that.
I imagine them on the floor with everyone else looking up with binoculars, and he gets stabbed by one of the robotic spiders as he's saying the pun.
Too. Right, that's it.
But it's okay though, because if you get infected by the mecha spider, then you explode with other mecha spiders who do want to fight the organic ones. So I mean, it's a quote-unquote win-win. Wait a minute. They weren't supposed to reproduce. Literally, Jeff Goldblum gets stopped before he says anything. They're mechanical. They're not nature. He's like, what the fuck is this?
God creates dinosaurs. God destroys dinosaurs. Man creates dinosaurs.
Man creates, but no, so
women inherit the earth. Anyway.
Also, by the way, there's some talk about. So there was a drink called Slusho that was promoted before this movie came out, and there's talk that
there was a lot of product placement in this as well.
It's funny. I actually didn't notice it, which means that I might be sheeple. I don't know. I did no, but I didn't notice it until you sent me this video, like whatever amount of things wrong with Cloverfield in 8 minutes, and they showed the product placement of the snacks in the store in the beginning, and funnily enough, I must have been looking down doing something else. I didn't notice the snacks. I paid attention for pretty much the entire movie. No, I didn't notice them. So apparently I'm immune to product placement. Thank you, not looking at the screen Like, thank you being busy doing other things. I didn't even notice it. So that was really funny. But I didn't notice much other product placement. All I noticed was that one of the TVs had SpongeBob on it, which made me piss myself. I was like, that was hilarious.
Right, yeah, I noticed that
Yeah, one of the TVs had, but you know what's really funny? It was like an ESPN-type announcer guy or a news anchor, so it was still a news anchor guy, but it was SpongeBob.
Yep.
Yeah. That was another thing I loved, how news clips really helped you try to make sense of what was going on.
Right.
Where they were reporting on certain stuff. Like they reported, I believe the news clips were reported on the spiders coming off of it. And we didn't really pay much attention to it because we didn't see them coming off of it. But then when we're underground, we're like, those are the things she mentioned.
Yeah.
I
was kind of paying attention because they run after people and the military and just start eating them, which, that scene was weird for me too because they run into the electronics store and the monster is only a few blocks away because you can see it down the street in the distance and it's huge, so maybe it's a bit further away than I'm thinking, but it felt like it was like, hey guys, it's like 3 blocks down, let's get the fuck out of here, please. It's like those spiders should be here in about another second. Oh, there they are. But that's just me.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Maybe I wasn't paying attention or my brain shut off. The spiders appeared before being underground?
Yes. Well, yeah, you see them, you don't see them falling off of the monster in the distance, but then you see the close-up of the news reporter on the TVs and you see the spiders attacking people.
Oh, right. Okay, thank you. It's funny. I said, pay attention, sheeple, and I apparently did not. Although it might have been hard for me to see. Again, you're watching on a computer screen, which is a bit closer to you. Perhaps that's what it was, maybe? I'm actually curious. I'm going back into, because they usually have the movie playing in the background as we do these podcasts. Longtime viewers know that, or listeners know that. So I'm actually, something else I didn't notice that maybe you did. I'm focusing so much on her wound, talking about Marlene. I didn't notice that one of the vending machines in the background was Mountain Dew. Like, I was so invested in, holy shit, that's some great makeup. She really looks like she's been ripped to pieces. Like, that arm has been ripped up.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice it was Mountain Dew in the background. That's kind of funny.
I was very focused on that, but I also still noticed the Mountain Dew.
You know what I think it is? Background. I think I'm not noticing. I did notice the Nokia poster. But you know what's also another thing, too, by the way? The Nokia poster, it's some people might be like, that's product placement. You're underground at a train station.
Yeah,
you kind of have
all
to have
these.
Yeah.
Right. All of these ads definitely felt like, oh, yeah, it's Manhattan. Of course this is going to be everywhere.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
But although it's kind of funny because, like, I probably should have noticed. It's funny. I noticed it more like, oh, wow, Nokia phones. That back then, because, 10 years ago, like, oh, wow, this is 10 years ago. A phone looked like that.
Yeah, 2008. I guess you're right. Huh.
What do you mean? That's how time works. Yes, 10 years ago.
Yeah, no, I know. It always feels like smartphone. For me, because it took me so long to actually get one, it feels like smartphones have been around for longer than than they have been, maybe. I don't know.
Well, no, remember that obviously, like, it's always hard to talk about things internationally, too, because Japan had phones so interconnected and not, I would say made well, but made to talk to each other. So, no, because in some ways, people talk about Japan like everything there is like the future, where it's like, flying cars, Marty, go to Japan. Like, they talk about Japan that way.
Right.
When really, in some ways, they aren't into tech the way we are, at least when it comes to, like, sharing ourselves and sharing what we do on social media sites and other things that we, kind of do. But when it comes to messaging each other and staying in contact in that regard, like one-to-one or online but not personal, like kind of just hiding behind a username, they've been doing that for so long, better than we have, that they actually had such good internet on their phones in the early 2000s that they actually had, it's going to get into those guys play stuff, they had Pokemon Crystal in Japan, obviously on the Game Boy, of course, on the Game Boy Color, but you could connect it to your phone to get a special event to get a Celebi.
Right.
And that was done only through mobile phones. And it was actually done at the Goldenrod Pokemon Center. They had this event. So in America, they took that out and made the Pokemon Center into a normal, smaller one. But in Japan, there's actually, you can just walk in there, go talk to, not Nurse Joy, but like another person on the first floor. I believe it was the first. And it's just a giant machine. And it's like, do you have your mobile phone set up? And if you put in the right code or whatever it was to link up, you get a Celebi.
Right.
And it was like, oh, shit. Like, you are advanced. Where with us, we didn't have that shit, so we fucking got that removed. Despite the fact that we had phones too, but not to that level of, tech. So, yeah, like phones, I mean, you didn't have like a smartphone necessarily, but like your phone was like a 2008 phone, I would argue, standard in 08. Sure, you had it till like 5 months ago, but, 3 months ago, but standard in 08.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Remember, I had flip phones until like, 3 years ago? I think it's been 3 years, maybe even less. It's not even talking about that. But yeah, so let's see, I'm looking at the scene right now where we're looking at the Cloverfield monster kind of come in. Oh, I think I see some of the spiders. Yeah. But no, I think it was very interesting to see like the military in the background. I wonder how much money it took to have, oh yes, now I see the spiders falling on the ground. So then, yeah, I totally noticed them. What am I talking about? Of course I saw them attacking people. But back to the military. I think it was super interesting to show them kind of intercutting into the action, both from the screens to them just kind of like driving down these streets, which as a native New Yorker, it felt real. Although, to be fair, it is funny because the scene with Sephora, that was actually filmed in L.A., or filmed in California. So the Sephora scene was filmed in California. And also the scene in the electronics store. So apparently that was in California, which is funny because the tank rolled down that street while they were in the electronics store. And I'm just like, it's so real. It's just native New York. But it's not. I'm pretty sure the rest of the movie, though, was actually filmed in New York. And they may have just edited things into certain exterior New York shots.
Right.
Rather than on a, like, sound stage or something like that. Like, I don't think they actually had CG in the sense that, because nowadays it's crazy with CG. If any of you, because I think some of us, we think, oh God, CG, it's so terrible and yada yada, but we don't realize something where like, you saw the Avengers, right?
Yes.
Like 20, yeah. None of that took place on New York rooftops at all. So they didn't film those shots. No, but what I'm trying to say is they didn't film those shots and then put people there. It's all CG.
Right.
So when you were sitting there like, oh no, but that was Jeremy Renner there shooting a fake arrow. No, Jeremy Renner wasn't in New York. That wasn't New York. That's what I'm saying. That's what's crazy. Like, it wasn't like, oh, we filmed the scene and then Hulk jumped from one building to another. No, some of those weren't actual buildings.
Right.
It's stuff like that. It's stuff like adding in fake snow. So, like, CG is so good that, like, nowadays you could pretty much sit there and be like, were they really walking in New York? But apparently they were. Apparently, T.J. Miller, the actor for HUD, apparently he filmed, according to him, he's like, I filmed 1/3 of that. No, I filmed like 1/3 of the movie, and then 1/3 of that made it into the cut.
Oh, damn.
So he was legit walking around with a camcorder for some of it and filming it. How crazy is that?
Right. Yeah.
Now, I would imagine that wasn't his actual dialogue while talking.
Right.
Like, in other words, he probably voiced it over much later. I imagine he didn't just say the words and then they appeared there. But how crazy is it to kind of just film the movie? It's like, I'm the guy that filmed it and I acted in it, at least part of it. That's nuts.
That is pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. But in no way does that mean that the film didn't have a huge budget, because, again, having the monster, filming where they filmed, having all of those, the military, not only outfits, but those were a lot of extras. Like,
right. Yeah.
As much as the military did nothing, right? Like, in other words, nothing to stand up to the monster, they were those were a lot of bodies to have to pay. So in no way, I know people might say, oh, it was low budget because the camera, that you save the money on the camera and the editing and yada yada. But in no way, in my opinion, does that mean that money didn't go to both the CG, even people that say, because even if people are like, oh, but the monster wasn't there much. Yeah, but there was a lot of other shit that went into this, like the spider monsters, paying people money to just exist, right? Because if there was less military, then I think maybe I'd agree with some people, maybe. But those are bodies you have to pay and feed. Like when you're not filming, you have to feed these people.
Right.
So just imagine that, right? Like all of these different military personnel, people in the quote unquote makeshift hospitals that you saw, either in an ambulance somewhere or when they were at the mall, like that shopping center near Columbus Circle. Like that was a lot of people that just, even if they were just randomly there, I'm sure they obviously didn't get paid the big bucks, yes. But those like, I feel like they did a trade-off where they were like, we're not going to hire a Leo, not just because of the familiarity, but also we don't have to pay that Leo money, right? We don't have to pay that Scarlett Johansson cash. But because we're not doing that, doesn't mean that we're going to skimp out. Like, I feel like they were able to buy a lot of, a lot of other, like kind of just like actors to just kind of come in and just be like, hey, you might not be getting much, but we need a lot of you.
Right.
Because they had a lot of military people being filmed. Like, maybe some of them were reused, I would imagine, but it was a lot of military to kind of come in and just get, mowed down multiple different times.
Right.
And just in general, having all those extras running around, it never felt like, and I'm sure someone on the internet's going to, send us a picture of like the same extra appearing 27 times, but it didn't feel like we saw the same extra appearing over and over.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like we would just be seeing people running around and being like, yep, those are unique, different people running around New York, scared for their lives. Again,
it definitely felt like that to me.
Yeah, there's going to be someone showing us the same person 5 times and being like, why did you not notice that, those guys? We're going to be like, sorry, we were a little preoccupied by the Cloverfield monster. That guy lied to his mom. Did you remember that scene, Tristan? He told the truth about his brother dying, but he lied because he was like, don't worry, we're being evacuated. And I was like, oh, that's sad because you're not. Yeah.
Well,
I don't. Yeah.
Not like they made it back home anyway. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, by the way, I love the rats when they're because you made that joke to me, so you were just like, follow the rats. They know what they're doing. Because literally, it's so interesting because the rats are just like, we saw those spider things. Fuck that.
Yeah.
We're out.
No, again, nature is more in tune with what the fuck is going on than we are. So, like, whenever I see something like that in a movie, it's like, whenever animals are running away from somewhere, you bet your sweet ass you better get the fuck out of there.
Pretty much. It's super interesting, too, because, like, I would have ran away with the mice, and I would have definitely put a bunch of cats to protect me, because the cats would definitely be like, we don't give a fuck. What the fuck's that? Fuck you. Especially New York cats. They would have been like, fuck you.
I'm gonna say that even the cats in this instance would be like, nah, get the fuck out, man.
You've seen some strays in my area with no tail. They do not play around.
No, I understand that, but at the same time, when you have that chasing you, or that anywhere near you within 100-mile radius, no.
I think they'd be more scared of like a cucumber or something. I don't know about that. Have you not seen those videos?
No. Oh. think I...
Cats are deadly terrified of cucumbers, and I feel really bad about it because I don't want to laugh because, like, I guess they just, to them it looks like a black mass that's unmoving or something. But if you, or the fact that maybe it wasn't there before they turn around and see it. But cats legitimately, like, get terrified and jump up from, like, the floor to the couch if they turn around and see a cucumber there.
I feel like that's a very specific thing for a very specific cat because I've totally made salads on my kitchen counter with the cat right there, and it does not give a fuck about cucumbers.
Then perhaps it's just the idea of something appearing there that once wasn't behind them when they weren't looking, maybe?
Yes.
But no, because people were trying to make a joke about it, like, haha, look at this, and people were like, don't do that, it's terrifying your cat, you piece of shit.
Right.
Like, your cat is genuinely being terrified.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a dick move, but, like,
I would say look it up, but I don't want dickheads to get money, add money on YouTube. But either way, though, what matters is that cats will beat the shit out of giant spider monsters. I don't know. But yes, so we don't know what this Cloverfield monster is. We do know that something interesting through interviews, Abrams wanted to make this a standalone, which again also makes it weird to say this is our Godzilla, again, just from a marketing point of view. But what I do like, though, is that he did not want, he basically was intrigued about being in the universe. Like, even though he wanted it to be a standalone film, he liked the universe, so he had no problem returning to it. However, of course, the problem is that, like, how do you do it, A, and B, him, the original director, and some other people working, staff, producers, I believe, were so busy that they were like, we're not going to do this just to... Abrams literally said, or not Abrams specifically, but I know the director said Abrams had so much power in regards to this movie and what he's done in the industry that he kind of said to the studio, no. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do this just so that you can make money off of it. I.e., we want to come up with a good story first. So I think that's very cool and that's awesome because, of course, yes, you want to make. Obviously, you want to make money off of a thing, right? In terms of you want to be able to at least make a living. Right. Yeah. I'm not trying to get into greed here and talk about making billions off of a franchise or something, making one movie into 3, as in like cutting it up to the point where it's not technically one movie. I'm not talking about that kind of corporate greed. I'm just saying that, you make something, and even if it's art and, making it as the reward, you also want to be able to not have to say, can I take your order while making the art,
Right.
That's all I'm saying, right? Unless it's your passion to make the art and be a waiter or be a server of some kind or, be in some kind of retail. If that's your goal, that's awesome. But I think some people would rather put their money and their time into making the art, whatever that is, and then getting money back from that. So that is the goal, yes. But I think it was nice for Abrams to be able to say, hey, we want to craft a really good story around it, rather than just saying, wow, Cloverfield is such a hit that we have to make Cloverfield 2 and it'll be out by 2010 or 2009,
Right.
And I think that was an amazing thing for him to do.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I wanted to mention as well, is that clearly, while it does seem like this was meant to be a standalone, in no way does that mean that they were never going to potentially come back to it. Also, another thing I want to mention. Yeah. Other thing I want to mention, too, oh, wow. So, random one-off. And I know it's just camera blur potentially because of the fact that, it's a digital camera, quote-unquote, or it's supposed to be like a camcorder. When the helicopter flies off, maybe it's also because I have the audio off, so I'm not completely in the I'm not immersed into the film. When the two of them kiss while HUD has the camera on them, that looked super fake for some odd reason. And I don't know why, because there was no reason for it to be fake. They're just standing there kissing. But it looked super fucking fake, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because, again, I'm not immersed. I don't know what it is. But anyway. Something I want to mention to you randomly. Did you ever go to Universal Studios as a kid?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Did you go on the King Kong confrontation ride?
I don't know.
It was the one where you're on like the trolley?
Ride. Yeah.
Is that
was that in Universal? Like, wait, was MGM Studios in Universal? I guess it was.
I don't remember. I think it was. Yeah, no, because if anyone doesn't know, by the way, the ride sadly has been gone for years. You can find clips of it on YouTube, though. I'm so happy you went on it because, Tristan, I haven't found one soul on Earth that has ever been on that ride. So thank you for going on that ride, Tristan.
I believe if it's the same one that I'm thinking about, then yes, I was on that ride.
Well, basically what happened was, the reason I'm bringing this up is because it reminded me of the helicopter scene so much, because basically the idea of the ride is you get on the ride and they're like, hey, so, here we're going on a tour of New York. It's supposed to be like a trolley going through New York.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's just like it could be a woman or a man, but in the on the ride that I was on, I'm pretty sure it was a woman doing the commentary, basically saying, so on your left you can see this, on the right you can see that, and then she's like, and else she goes, okay everyone, please stay calm, but there seems to be a little bit of an issue going on, and then you start hearing news reports and seeing animatronic in the background of the entire set that they've made this whole ride on, an animatronic King Kong destroying the city in the background. Yes, yeah. And eventually they make one so big, because there's a few different animated King Kongs that they use. Eventually they make one so big that its hand actually grabs onto the trolley and shakes it, and it looks at you, and it breathes in your face.
Yeah.
Now you remember it, Tristan.
I think I remember that.
If not, you can look it up on YouTube. It does exist, thankfully.
True.
And you can be reminded if you've ever went on it.
I was 7, so I may have been
I went in 2000.
Scared that I blocked that out of my mind.
Dude, I embraced it. I was so terrified.
Because it's funny, I went on a Jaws ride, kind of similar to that, and that one I remember vividly because I was fucking terrified.
Dude, the fire was so hot on that ride.
I know. Oh, man.
Why have we never talked about this? We've known each other for 10 years, Tristan.
Because we've only been like once or twice and we never thought to talk about it? I don't know.
I feel like, people have traumatic events and they say, I'm at Disneyland. I feel like we're doing the opposite. We're at Universal. And we're like, I'm watching Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, my God.
We're crying. We're like, da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Make it go away, Goku.
If Trunks was here, he would cut down Jaws.
Oh, God. I'm just imagining the exploding air tank, but with Trunks instead. He just does what he does, in fucking Super Android 13 when they attack each other, and he just has a sword slash, and then the android falls apart and explodes in the background. It's just Jaws getting cut in half and exploding in the background. We're getting way off topic.
Way off top. No, but everyone should look up that King Kong confrontation ride, because you can actually, again, you can see miniature King Kongs in the background in the same way that you see the Cloverfield monster hitting the different buildings. And then you also end up having, because when he lunged, which is funny because I saw him lunging at the copter, I saw it coming, but I don't get why he did it. I will admit. In the same way that, arguably maybe his thought is, they've been shooting at me. What?
I mean, yeah, but to have him randomly lash out in the direction of the helicopter seems just too convenient. But yeah.
That time, and then also them, even though I love the idea of them going from one building to another from a comedy perspective, not that it was funny they did it, but that TJ Miller or HUD suggests it, and they're like, that's a good idea. He's like, no, that's a bad idea. I do not like that I even suggested it. So that was funny, right? but them actually doing it, I made me feel like, oh, they had to add some drama somewhere, like dun 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 dun.
Or
you know?
like how the random spider falls from the ceiling too when Rob getting Beth out and Hud and Lily are running, and it just drops from the ceiling. It's like, you're by yourself in this random building?
Oh, you think that they travel more in packs?
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Oh, no, I
or
thought they were all just down there because they just were around.
I mean, yeah, it just feels like, why would one just... Because it feels like where there's one, there should be many more of them.
That's
least
fair.
for me.
I thought there were going to be more,
really go off on their own. Yeah.
Yes.
I feel... Yeah,
okay.
It was weird. So that kind of felt weird, too. And then Rob just spears it with a pipe, which was cool, but also kind of like...
No, it wasn't.
Shit,
that wasn't Rob. It was No, that wasn't Rob. That was the fiance hit it with a. I thought it was the fiance hitting it with an axe. Where I was like, wow, look at you.
Oh,
look at you.
Maybe. Oh, yeah, the lighting was a little off for me, so I couldn't quite tell who actually hit it.
Yeah, I'll check it again, but
kind of confuses me even more because, like, she would have had to. I feel like she would have had to do that one-handed because, gaping hole in one of your shoulders, that definitely didn't.
No, not her.
The
fiance. Remember, she was alive.
Yeah.
The fiance to the brother.
The brother, yeah, Lily.
She didn't have a hole.
No, she didn't. I said her name before. Well, I guess you didn't recognize the name, but I thought she was much... I could have sworn she was much further down the staircase. I don't know.
Well, let's see here. Let's see what's going on here as we're watching it in the background, because we have him holding her, and they're all walking down the thing, and then they go down to the other side, which again was like K. And then I will admit, it's funny. I said the dark was good earlier, but now I'm like, I don't know, no bueno.
Well, I mean, just in this instance, because it makes it kind of hard to tell what's going on.
Yes. Oh, you're right. It was him. What am I doing? You're right. Completely right. How did I not notice that the first time? Also, I will admit the spider was a little. It's funny. Only in this moment did I look at a spider because of the lighting. Funnily enough, the lighting had to be good enough for us to see what was going on, but because it was, I was like, fake. Fake. The only time, again, in the underground, and when they were jumping on the military.
Of them. Yeah.
Yes, or even with the military earlier on, I'm like, oh God, these are terrifying. In that one moment, because we have to see it moving, I'm like, fake, because it's jittering around, and that's obviously very hard to do in 08. Yeah,
it just felt odd because it's like there's only one of you. I feel like there should be many more of you, and we should be running more, and not getting away. By the way, because
all of these actors deserve an award. And you want to know why? First, two reasons. One, I know the script was super vague, but they didn't see any of the monsters while filming.
True. Oh, wow, yeah. So, their deliveries were pretty good, pretty spot on.
It's like it is the most terrifying episodes of Blue's Clues I have ever seen.
Oh, my God.
Just not seeing. Well, because, as you know, Steve never saw Blue. It was just like a tennis ball or something.
Right, a tennis ball. Yeah. Oh, another thing I'd like to mention for the fiance, for Lily, there was only, like, in one point, she's carrying her heels in her hand as they're walking up the staircase.
Yeah.
And it reminded me, oh, Jesus, she's been running around in fucking high heels this whole damn time.
Take that, Jurassic World.
Crap. Yeah, right?
But that's the only thing I know is that she had, in that movie, the main character, she had heels. And people were criticizing, like, she ran in heels, really, in the dirt, really.
She wanted to do the scene.
Yeah, she wanted to do the scene in heels. But anyway, they didn't see the monster. They only saw a very early concept art. So I know that it's not like it was super vague, and obviously not going to scream like, look at its long arms and jaw. Obviously not going to do that. But it was
But it's like, imagine this thing falls down from the ceiling, and is about to eat you.
Yeah, like
in
no way.
I think I can work with that.
They did not feel wooden at all when they were reacting to the calamity around them. Like, it felt like they were like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, even like just having Miller as HUD scream like, Jesus Christ. It felt like he actually saw it coming at him and was like, holy shit balls. You know what I'm saying? Like, it felt like he really was there when really nothing was there. You're just looking into the void and just going, man, that's terrifying, whatever that is. Now, to be fair, potentially his stuff, because there's a chance it was recorded way later when the monster was there, he might not, like, his performance might need to be taken with a little bit of a grain of salt because he may have been able to see the monster when saying stuff. But the other, like, everyone else obviously didn't, because it seems like their stuff was recorded on site. Seemingly. It looks like they didn't have to dub over their own lines. And if they did, they obviously had to mouth out whatever words anyway. So they're all on camera. Miller isn't. So I don't know how his worked, where if he recorded it later or if he recorded it on the spot. I don't know, because I don't know how their mics worked, because, again, they're running around. He has a camcorder. He would obviously sound a lot more awkward mic level-wise if he was just recording it while holding the camera.
Right. True.
So I don't know how they did his audio, to be fair. So maybe maybe he doesn't get the award because he saw it, right? But everyone else, they really were reacting like it was happening to them right there, then and now. Holy shit, what's going on? This is crazy, right? And I think that was an amazing thing to have happen, right? To just have them reacting to this monster that truly doesn't exist, you know? So that was one thing I wanted to mention. Another thing, too, is apparently they didn't get the scripts until very close to filming because of how secret they wanted this project to be. So even during the audition process, they either got scripts from older movies or scripts just written for the production process itself. Now, I know Doctor Who does stuff like that as well, and some other series do. I know one of the more recent Power Rangers, I don't think the movie, but I think the TV series did something like that because they don't want that stuff getting out. So maybe it's something that's more industry standard now, but it still is very interesting to think about the fact that these actors essentially were agreeing to be in a movie that they knew nothing about.
Yeah.
So they, for all we know, this movie could have sucked, at least from an actor perspective.
Right.
You know, and I don't think it did. Like, I think they carried the movie very well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Despite us not necessarily agreeing with some of the, choices of, the main character's love interest, living after that kind of wound. I mean, maybe they thought the leg would be a problem because then she wouldn't be able to walk properly, which would make them even more of a target.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, true. I mean, that's what it felt like with Rob after they pulled him from the helicopter, which, it's funny, I didn't think anyone survived the helicopter crash, but apparently they did.
I looked at how much time was left in the movie, and I was like, I guess someone survived the crash somewhere?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be the military coming up to, see if any of their troops were alive from the helicopter and picking up the video camera, and that was going to be it. But, yeah.
It's funny. I thought that, too, until I saw the time, and I was like, too early,
right.
Not sure.
Well, because I thought it was going to go into maybe some military stuff with them, like, okay, so we've reviewed the tape, like, what do we get, out of this? Like, what are we going to do about the monster, blah, 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 and it might go into a little bit of that, but, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're right. That would be it's interesting. That would be more of a, I would argue, Godzilla movie. Minus the death, that would be very much Godzilla. True. Like, how do we strike next?
Yeah, that would kind of feel more sequel-ish, leading into a sequel more like, oh, God, I think of movies just naturally leading into sequels nowadays.
We have to get them. We have to put you down. Like, just put you down in bed to lie down. You have to lie down.
I don't want to blow up from spider bites, Mike. Please don't do that to me.
Oh, God. No, but it's okay. Just lay down.
Matt,
but dear
God.
God.
God, it's happening. I'm already infected. Oh, God.
You're infected by the sequel bug?
Apparently.
I'm sorry.
Well, you're coming
I'll
with
go
me.
home. Yeah, probably.
No, you're infected too.
I'm coming with you to see the sequel, 10 Cloverfield Lane. Hey, when we do the sequel on the podcast, maybe next week, maybe 2 weeks from now, whenever that might be, you won't be so behind, Tristan, because it's only 2 years old.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's a new record for me.
Yeah, right? When did you get your Nintendo 64 again?
2015.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh, I'm getting better.
If it makes you feel better, I still haven't played Mario Galaxy yet.
That I've done. Wasn't mine, but wasn't my copy. That I've done.
And I have a Wii. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me.
I do too.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, you do. Anyway.
It's okay. I
forget because you have the GameCube. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I want to thank you all so much for listening in. I think we can wrap things up here unless there's something else you want to talk about, because I don't think there's much else we can talk about with the viral marketing other than there's a manga out. It's not out in English. Like, you can't buy it in English, but I'm pretty sure there's fan translations online if people want to check that out. So there is a manga for this. It's kind of like a prequel manga, but it doesn't necessarily have to be canon, I don't believe. So there is a manga. There's talk about, because of all the websites that were out before this and stuff like that, and other news reels and fake news reels and stuff like that, there's background, quote-unquote, talk or knowledge about, like I said earlier, there was a Japanese company, and they, like a satellite fell out of the sky and potentially woke up the Cloverfield monster. And there's also talk of maybe it being infected by Slusho, or Slusho being a part of it, like they were using it to make the drink, or some weird stuff involving Slusho. Yeah, like weird. Well, because what's interesting is HUD. Yeah, right. Where you were humming X-Files, weren't you? Yes. Because the thing is, HUD was talking about, like, is this a government thing? Were they in on it? So, like, we don't know if this is, like, if it was a government creation either. Yeah. Like, they clearly tried to drop that in there just to make us question, like, so what are you?
Yeah, because then it feels like, is it just the ramblings of people in fear and, paranoia setting in, or are we actually onto something here? Exactly. And, I mean, I imagine we would learn that in later movies, but I have no fucking idea. I really hope we do, though. Like, we learn about it more. Because there's going to be 4 of them by the end of this year. I hope we fucking know something more about Cloverfield. Yeah, right? Like, as a whole, as a universe. Anyway, so, so again, thank you all so much for listening in. We love that you guys listen in and help us kind of just be us. And if you want to help us be us, potentially even more than you already are, just by listening in and just by, listening to our stuff either through our Blog Talk Radio, which is blogtalkradio.com/those-guys-on-the-radio, or by searching up Those Guys on the Radio on YouTube and finding us there and seeing all of our other podcasts that we've done. We've done over 600 hours of podcasts, Tristan. 600 hours. Wow. I don't even know how many episodes at this point, but over 600 hours. You, me, and a bunch of other hosts. Yeah. Right? Just holy shit. But if you want to help us be us even more and kind of end up telling us what we should be doing, right? You can actually have a hand in what we do, both with our podcast and with our Let's Plays and with some of our other skits that we do on other channels. You can actually donate to us over at our Patreon, our nice little tip jar, which is patreon.com/TGProductions. And over there, depending on what tier you donate to, you actually say to us, hey, we would like you to do a podcast about this or about that. So it could be something like a top 5 list or a top 10 list, something about, Godzilla, or something about like top 5 Godzilla movies, or top 5 Godzilla dubbed movies, or top 5 Dragon Ball Z fights, or something like that. It can also be if you guys, maybe some of you guys have seen some of our Godzilla movies that we've, some of the podcasts that we've done over with Friday Night Movies, and you think, Matt, we want you guys to do this next one right now.
Like, you guys love it so much, you want to talk about the next one immediately. Well, obviously we'll get to it when we can, but because you end up donating to it, we know that you want it right away. So that's kind of our way of knowing, like, wow, you really want this podcast ASAP. And then we'd give it to you ASAP. I will literally show up at Tristan's house. We would get it done.
And he will beat me over the head with a copy of it.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It depends on if you. I wouldn't want to do that and then you podcast on it. You'd be a terrible host.
True.
But still, we can do that. Same thing with the Let's Plays as well. If you want Tristan and I to play a game, continue a game that we started a while ago that, which we try to get to, but we do a lot of different stuff with those guys play, which, by the way, is our Let's Play and general gaming YouTube channel. I mean, we have Let's Plays on there, of course. We also have Let's Play challenge videos, like Product Placed, where I play different games that involve speaking of this movie involving product placement, will involve heavy product placement, where, like, my first episode that I did, I think you remember watching it, Tristan, was I played Ronald Land, which is actually an NES game, although it was only released in Japan. So it's a Famicom game. Yeah, Famicom game with Ronald McDonald as the protagonist of the game. And every time I lost, I took a bite of a Big Mac, and I went through 2 Big Macs before I called it quits because it was hellish.
Oh, God.
It was. I know you saw it, Tristan. It was nuts. So we have stuff like that.
I don't know what
we
scares me more, the Cloverfield monster or that.
Yeah, we have Not For Resale, where I play different Not For Resale games and kind of point out what the differences are between them and their original releases. We also have Matt Plays PS1 demo discs. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Matt beats games from his childhood. Again, pretty self-explanatory. And again, you and I, Tristan, have continued some games that we've played before. We have those guys play Dragon Ball Z, where we just do a bunch of different Dragon Ball Z games. We've beaten Budokai, at least the main story. We've beaten some other Dragon Ball Z games as well. And we also beat the original Luigi's Mansion. And again, you can see all of that on our Those Guys Play YouTube channel. Search that up and see us there. And if you want to see us play any games in particular, or make any style of video in particular for that gaming channel, you can donate, again, to a tier on our Patreon, or even be a sponsor for these podcasts, for our Keikaku Corner podcast on Those Guys on the Radio, where we talk about different anime, mostly anime, but it'll also be video game news and manga news as well on a weekly basis. We have clips out every day. You can be a sponsor for those podcasts. Again, if you donate, depending on what tier you donate to on Patreon, we can give you guys basically a shout-out. Say, hey, thank you to so-and-so for being our sponsor. Ask us different questions, so we can do different Q&A videos and stuff like that as well. So a bunch of different ways you can support us. Also by buying our merchandise, which we have a different T-shirts and stuff like that, over in our main website, which is teacherproduction.net/merchandise, or over at our eBay, which is ebay.com/USR/ThoseGuysRadio. So again, a bunch of different cool ways to support us, and you can follow us on our different social media accounts. Already mentioned our main website, which is teacherproduction.net. Also, we have our Facebook, which is /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio, and our Twitter, which is @ThoseGuysRadio. I want to thank you all so much for listening in. Love you guys. Take care, and I guess say goodnight, Tristan.
Good night, everyone.
Godzilla roar. I don't know how to just do it. So, Godzilla roar.
It's still